Yo, yo, yo. All right. What's up, people? Totally new location, as you're now used to. I'm in America. It's official. Feels good. America's cool. You got to go to other countries to really appreciate how cool America is. I mean, it's definitely got its problems, don't get me wrong, but I'm happy to be back, personally. Yes, this is a somewhat intimidating angle, slightly positioned below me, so I'm looking down at you. This is to make you feel inferior. And I'm trying to basically whip my audience into a very submissive state of mind from here on out. No, I'm just kidding. I see some chat already. Free though makes a comment about how, the timing is going to change on these, or at least they can change. I'm doing this right now at what I believe is what I have been doing at 9 p.m. in the UK. But here, now that I'm in the States on the East Coast, it's 5 o'clock here. So my freedom to do this at different times is now increased. So I'm going to just kind of experiment. I'll keep doing it at this time until I announce otherwise. But we'll see. If there's a time that, works better for all the people who watch this, then I'll consider, doing it at a different time if I can. What else do we have? So lots to talk about, a lot to talk about. It was a crazy week, my last week in England. Crazy in a good way. I'm sure many of you have been following this Nina Power scandal, at the center of which I guess I have been to some degree. And it's quite fascinating. I have lots of thoughts on that. But first, what I should do is give you a little bit of an introduction about what's happening today. So it's going to be a little atypical. I'm going to do my normal 1 hour kind of hangout. I'll give you some, opinions or rants or hypotheses or conspiracy theories or whatever I feel like. And, you can ask me shit, whatever. I'll answer or talk about whatever you want for an hour. And then I'm going to be joined at the top of the hour by a young woman named Katya. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I'm going to guess that's pretty close to right. And she's a filmmaker and a playwright, I think she said. She's been working in kind of writing for film and for these various kinds of audiovisual arts, let's call them. I'm so ignorant about the arts, to be honest. I don't even know what you call things. But she's making a movie, all right? She's a filmmaker at the moment, for at least. And she's working on a short film. It's about sex work, sex tourism in particular in Thailand. And Katya and I have been friendly for a little while on Twitter. I think when I was getting rid of my books, I think she signed up for that J. Murphy book disposal program. So I think I remember writing her address and sending her a book. Anyway, so we've been friendly for a bit. I saw that she is trying to raise funds for this film that she's making. And I looked into it and looked interesting and looked legit. Like, she's definitely talented and she's like won awards and stuff like that. And so I was like, why don't you just come on my YouTube channel? If it's interesting, people will probably throw you some money. So now it's on her to make it interesting. And but no, she seems cool. And so we're just going to talk about sex tourism and Thailand. And she has kind of an interesting story because she basically got into it through YouTube. Like, she was just kind of interested in Thailand or something like that. And the algorithm started recommending more and more. And eventually that got her into like dark stuff related to sex tourism. So yeah, she has a take on that, in particular kind of about a culture of, like, I guess, Western men who want to, save these sex workers, I guess, in Thailand, something to that effect. But we're going to learn more about what she's, how she sees that and what's going on with all of that and what the movie's going to be like. So yeah, that'll be in about 45 minutes from now. All right. So for the rest of the time, we'll just talk. So if you have any questions, comments, whatever, put them in the chat. I don't really have an agenda. Let's talk about whatever I want. So let's see. Let's see what we got. Have Good Day asks, why don't you create a Patreon? Motherfucker, I do have a Patreon. And you better fill that bitch with money, or else I'm going to starve because I lost my job because of you motherfuckers, okay? you can find the link on the front page of my YouTube channel, or Google it or whatever. Have a Good Day asks, would you ever go on a dissident right YouTube show or interview someone from the dissident right? So, yeah, Razib Khan volunteers himself. And, you know, to some degree, Razib is right. I have talked with lots of people on my channel who I think are seen as being, you know, quite far on the, what we might call edgy right. And, you know, I've gotten in a fair bit of trouble in my life for that already. I'm certainly not afraid of, you know, talking to people on the far right. I've given this answer before, but I'll say it again. It's more just that I'm not that interested in the particularly stupid and nastier positions that are popular in certain like right-wing YouTube circles. So if you're asking me this question because you're here for the first time, I want to say very clearly, I'm not a white nationalist. I don't really care about white people shit. I think that's a losing way to think, and it's dumb and potentially harmful. But you know, even if it's not harmful, because I'm willing to go as far as to say that there are probably some white nationalist people out there who are not themselves violent or evil necessarily, which to even say that is like kind of a major taboo or faux pas. I'm supposed to act like every single person on YouTube who watches white nationalist shit is like intrinsically trying to kill black people or something like that. Obviously, that's not the case. So, yeah, I don't have some kind of like overactive ideological threat detector. It's more just that I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's a good politics. I'm just personally not interested in it. I think it's kind of dumb. I think it's a losing. So it's a losing way to think, and certainly a losing kind of political wager, I think. So if that disappoints you, I'm sorry. You can fuck off. Have a Good Day says, put your Patreon link in the description of your YouTube videos. Well, thank you for that encouragement. The truth is, I try not to be too grubby with the YouTube, with the Patreon, and with the money and all that stuff. Obviously, I do kind of invite people to throw me some money if they really like what I'm doing, and I make that available for sure. And I probably should do a better job of making it somewhat more available. But, you know, I've been very clear with myself when I started doing the internet stuff hardcore that I never wanted to let myself or my project become kind of like, in an ugly way, kind of like overly concerned with money. And so I purposely err on the side of not putting links to give me money everywhere. But yeah, but thank you for the encouragement. And yeah, you know, I probably should do a little bit more of that kind of thing. So did that answer your question? I'm open to talk with people on the right. I already have and will continue to, if they're smart and if they're interesting and they're saying things that I find at least fascinating, even if I disagree or think it's potentially really bad or evil. I have to just be, my criterion for like who I talk to is I have to be personally interested in talking with them for some reason. I don't care if other people understand that reason or like that reason, but I have to at least feel that. So a lot of the people on the far right who sometimes people on YouTube like in the chat, sometimes you people tell me to talk with, you know, many times people have asked me to talk with Richard Spencer, for instance. I'm just not into it. I'm just not into it really. It's not like a morally righteous kind of virtue signaling thing, but there's just a kind of cluster of ideas on that end that I'm personally not interested in. I think people should go with what they're interested in. John Michael Loon asks, when I say that an idea is dumb, what exactly do you mean? I've talked about this a lot before on the stream, and I don't want to make this whole talk about this. I actually want to talk more about the Nina Power stuff, which is quite fascinating because it's kind of kicking off right now and refuses to die down. And it's quite a fascinating moment. So I wanted to talk mostly about that. What I need to do and what I will do, I promise eventually, is I'm going to write some big long thing where I state my views on and position towards white nationalism and kind of the nastier branches of the contemporary far right that I have no time or interest for, or interest in. Yeah, I need to articulate that more clearly, in part just so people on here stop asking me, why are you calling white nationalism dumb, dude? I'll explain. I have talked about this on here before in my defense. So I just don't feel like going over it right now. I'm not dodging. Thoughts on IQ, quote unquote, the Irish question. I support a free Ireland. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think it's quite clear that the relationship between the United Kingdom and Ireland has been a historically, dominating and oppressive relationship. And yeah, I mean, I come from an Irish family that was historically, Republican, as you would say, supportive of Irish independence. So yeah, that's a short answer to that. All right, we got some questions here about Andrew Yang. We'll talk about that for a little bit because I find that quite interesting. I think that there are some good reasons to be interested in basic income. I think there are also some reasons to be concerned, and I'm not actually going to go into those right now because to me, if I'm being absolutely honest, I'm kind of attracted to the Yang gang, if only for kind of aesthetic reasons. And I've long been making this argument that a lot of politics is mostly aesthetic. It's mostly kind of, it's sociological and aesthetic. I've been saying this for a little while. I haven't really spelled it out as fully as I could. So what do I mean by that exactly? Well, you can have a whole set of logical political positions that are equally logical, but point in a million different directions. And ultimately, what decides if someone chooses a set of logical political positions A versus some other set of logical political positions B? If they're both equally logical, then what is it? You could say kind of empirically consistent, maybe, but I don't think anyone would really argue that at the end of the day, political convictions are rooted in a kind of empirical accountability to how the world really looks or works. I think that ultimately political preferences and political positions are determined by something more like taste. And so here I'm obviously kind of hearkening back to the work by someone like Jonathan Haidt, this idea of moral, kind of that we have moral taste buds, which do a lot of the structuring of our political attitudes. I think that when you take that line of research and that way of thinking about it seriously, and you actually integrate that into your own perspective and lifestyle choices or whatever, to me, it says it kind of gives you some freedom to actually choose political programs and projects and positions based on just more naive criteria, like what you think is cool, And I think you're seeing this with Andrew Yang. Like, I listened to a few of his podcasts and didn't really think much of it. But then I saw Nishiki's posts and all the people who, like, everyone on my timeline was all of a sudden talking about Andrew Yang. And there were like a lot of funny memes. They were really funny and good. And it pulled me in aesthetically. I was like, I want to like Andrew Yang, kind of looking at all this. Like, it's a sign of a culture is brewing. And then this idea of memeing a president into existence, I have to admit, I'm extremely attracted to that for its own sake, So part of me wants to go down the Yang Gang path as a vote in favor of crazy people on the internet getting to decide what happens. That's what I vote for. I think that's what I like. And when I see the Yang Gang stuff kicking off, I'm attracted to it aesthetically. I'm attracted to it sociologically. I'm for nebulous reasons or ambiguous reasons, let's say, I'm naturally pulled towards that. I'm sympathetic towards that. And I think that's ultimately how politics work. You might be saying, oh, Justin, that's stupid. You have a PhD. You should choose your political positions with more sophistication. But you see, this is the most sophisticated way to choose your political position. If, in fact, someone like Jonathan Haidt is right in saying that at the end of the day, ultimately, the real structuring of politics comes from this kind of set of taste buds that we have. Jonathan Haidt does not say that, and he's not making the implications I'm making, to be clear, not putting that in his mouth. But this is my take on it, that when you see at the end of the day how ultimately arbitrary and aesthetic and kind of non-logical and non-empirical political preferences are, then you embrace it, and then you actually allow yourself to make decisions on that basis. I think that's that's like the most sophisticated way to come to a political decision, in my opinion. And I've been reflecting on that a lot lately as the Yang Gang stuff has been kicking off, because I have to admit I've been pulled in. So Josh asks, was that a yes on the Yang hat? I would say I'm thinking about it. It's a leaning yes, to be honest. I'm leaning yes. I'm leaning towards Andrew Yang, I must admit. I want to take my glasses off because they're so reflective. Yeah, of course. Oh, Katya in the house. What's up? Am I saying your name right? Katya. Should I say Katya or Katya? Yeah, of course. Every candidate has aesthetics and memes, but you don't respond to them equally, do you? It's all about which ones you like the most, which ones speak to your inner being. And I have to say, I like the idea of crazy people on the internet being able to meme presidents into power. I support that. That's my position. All right, what else? All right, so none of you are super chatting me, so that means I get to talk about whatever the fuck I want. Jordan Peterson in the house. Hi, Jordan. Thanks for coming. I'm always so flattered that you joined my YouTube chats. I mean, I know how busy you are. So when I see you're watching, thank you. Good luck against Zizek, man. I wish you the best on that. All right. All right, I'm going to rant a bit, unless you super chat me. I can't keep up with all the stuff in the chat. Oh, okay, it's Katia. All right, you can correct me when you come on. Hidalgo asks, what do you think of McCrump's fluoride stare? I think nothing of McCrump's fluoride stare. I don't think about McCrump's. Why the beard, Razib? You're asking why the beard? Why the beard? Because it's beautiful. Because it makes me look more manly is the true answer. I have a very, how should I say, baby face. And the beard helps me project power. No, I just like it. All right. So I'm now officially going to be looking away from the chat. I'll look only if there's a super chat. All right. So I'm sure you guys have been following this stuff with Nina Power. In case you're living under a rock and you somehow haven't seen it, Nina Power is a philosopher in England. She invited Arya and I to stay with her when we got like kicked out of the university or whatever. Pushed out, I should say, whatever. And I had never actually, I met her once before, but I never got to know her. And basically what happened was I accidentally ended up making a shitstorm for her because we went to her flat and she was with this person named DC Miller, who, if you followed my last videos, he's a kind of right-wing, quite edgy guy who's been kind of blacklisted from most places because he's interested in Evola and defended LD50 or whatever. And I didn't know him much either, a little bit. And they were there when I got there. And I was like, I have to do a live stream at 9 p.m. because I'm committed to doing that. And they're like, we want to do it with you. I was like, okay, of course you can. So I was pleasantly surprised that they were really keen. I didn't even really put them up to it at all. They genuinely were keen to join. So I said, of course, sure. I was happy to have them. We had a long conversation, just a normal kind of conversation that people have. You know, my live streams, like I just talk about whatever I want. And it was totally unscripted, totally unplanned. We just talked about things and we finished it. And I was like, I thought it was pretty good, pretty fine, just a normal live stream. Like it didn't even occur to me that we said anything at all controversial. I thought it was quite mild. And basically from then on, like the internet kicked off and it slowly grew immediately after. There were some haters online, but that's normal for me. Then what happened was someone wrote an open letter concerning Nina Power, which was just a hilarious screed. Well, actually, it was very well written. It was like very articulate, and it went point by point through all these things, like everything we said in the video. It's hilarious. And basically, they were accusing us of being like fascists, and it has such funny stuff. Like one thing I keep thinking about is one piece of evidence was that I quoted G.K. Chesterton uncritically, because apparently he was on the wrong side in the Dreyfus affair. Cut me a fucking break, Christ. Anyway, this letter was so dumb and ridiculous that immediately after, a kind of conspiracy theory was floated by someone like Max. I don't know if Max Castle was the first person to propose it, but the unconditional accelerationist people, the UAC people, a few other. Max Castle, I think, was the main proponent, and Schwanform. A few other people kind of floated this conspiracy theory that it was written by DC Miller, or it was written by Nina, or like it was written by us. I don't know. But the basic point being that it was a false flag. And to my knowledge, that's completely false. And in fact, now I think it's quite confirmed that we know who did it. I'm a little hesitant to say. I'll return to the story after I check out this super chat. Woker Nexus. What's up, Woker? It says super hats are based. Is that a typo? Are you trying to say super chats are based? I mean, super hats are based. Like, if you got a hat and it's super, that's pretty based. I support. Who could not like a super hat? But super chats are definitely based. Giving me money is based. Like, if you really want to be based in red pill, the best thing you could do is give me mad money. It's basically one of the quickest ways to absolutely guarantee based and red pill status for life. If you want to really own all the libs, I assure you, I am a never-ending, bottomless pit of openness to your money, and I got so many red pills for you. So, oh, actually, no. You know what? Don't give me your money. Give it to Katya's or Katia's. Give it to her film. She's raising money. Save your money, okay? Don't give it to me for today. Well, you can if you want, but thanks, Rob. What's up, Rob? Nina said that she liked men. Yes, this was one of the major, extremely evil, fascist, sexist signs of hatred in her letter. Oh, I'm sorry, in the live stream. She's writing a book called What Do Men Want? She's a feminist, and she advances this extremely dangerous idea. Don't actually tell many people about this. I don't want to get her in any more trouble. But basically, one of her ideas is she thinks that it's in the interest of women to try to understand what men actually want. Can you believe that? And she doesn't hate them. She actually thinks they're all right. And feminism is actually more than capable of developing a true understanding of what men really want. And that when we have that understanding, men and women can finally learn to get along. Isn't that? I mean, can you believe the fascism? Can you believe the nerve of her? So thank you, Rob Walker. Thank you for that. Thank you for reminding me. Rob Walker is reminding me that in London, right before I left, I had a very secret, private, VIP, exclusive hangout party meetup thing. And it was awesome. It was really, really awesome. I got to meet a bunch of people who follow me on the internet who I never met before in person. And a few people from the Discord server showed up, and a few people from the accelerationist spheres showed up, and a few other edgelords showed up. And my friends, Jeffrey Miller and Diana Fleischman, were in town kind of with us, and they came also. And Nina came, and it was a really, really great time. It was an amazing send-off. So yeah, actually, one of the reasons I'm mentioning that, other than just to share it, that it was awesome, is that it really kind of got me thinking about maybe doing more events. I don't know. Like, I didn't know what to expect. I was a little nervous when I did this meetup. I wasn't sure if people would come or if maybe bad people would come or whatever. But people really, like, it was all cool people, almost to a T, as far as I could tell, as far as I was able to learn about people. And I mean, who knows? Maybe one of them was a Nazi or something. You never know. But such is life. I'm not responsible for that. As far as I can tell, everyone's cool. And so I was kind of like, and also like a few people said that they really, really enjoyed it. Like, especially thought it was awesome. And so I'm kind of like, here's the thing though. I really don't want to be a fucking event planner. Like, I don't want to do that kind of work. Everything I'm doing is about trying to minimize my like bullshit work tasks, so I can just focus on reading, writing, speaking, thinking, and being creative and productive freely. That's what this is all about. So it would be a major failure mode if I were to now like get all into having events and doing all this like work intensive stuff. So that's the drawback, and that's what I need to think about, because I really want to. I'm not gonna fall into that trap. But there might be a way to do it. like, and I actually also had this thought when a little bit after my meetup that I hosted, I actually went, Jeffrey and Diana were giving a talk at one of these like Rebel Wisdom events. You know that guy on YouTube, the Rebel Wisdom? And I went, Jeffrey and Diana invited me, so of course I'd go just hang out with them and see their talk. And I'm not hating on the event. I'm not hating on Rebel Wisdom. They're doing their thing. It's all good. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, just that the event was very, how should I put it? It was very branded and kind of like, promotional and a little bit more markety than I like to be, so it was like, they do retreats apparently. And basically they're very much kind of in this like self-development, self-help guru kind of market. And again, I think that's a failure mode. I want to avidly and insistently not go down that route. I'm not a self-help guru. I'm not a self-development, promoter. I'm not like selling some kind of like lifestyle message or business. And I can see how that's like very tempting because there is a large demand for that kind of thing. And I mean, I guess if I were to do meetups and people found them like very good for their own self-development, that's awesome. I'm not hating on self-development like some kind of morbid, depressed leftists do. I'm really not hating on it. I'm truly not. I'm just trying to stay focused on intellectual work and not get caught up in like these like markets and this kind of like particular kind of branding that becomes very commercial. And I don't think Rebel Wisdom is actually too bad or anything. I'm not saying that. But it was a vibe and a style that I didn't really quite like. Like they start off their events with like the whole group does like breathing exercises together. And look, breathing exercises are good. Again, I'm not hating on that. But it had this very kind of orchestrated feel. It was like, okay, everyone, we're going to do breathing exercises as a group for the next few minutes. And then after the talks, it was like, we do these retreats. If you're interested in the retreats, come talk to us. And then they're giving out flyers. And it's kind of, there's this feeling. I mean, if they're listening to this, take this as just a constructive critique. I think that when you're trying to do intellectual work of any kind, if you're trying to put on live events with a fundamentally kind of intellectual purpose, then it's really crucial that you have to make some money, you have to like pay for shit, but it's really crucial that that is truly in the background, I think. And because a person can feel when an event is primarily for kind of like reproducing itself and making money and everything like that. And it's extremely difficult to deal with that. It's a really difficult problem. That's why I don't really fault anyone for it, because it's extremely natural. But if you really want to create events, and I guess this is my kind of like theory of if I were to go into doing meetups or whatever, and this is based in part on a reflection on my own event, which I did, which was just very like DIY punk rock affair, is you really just do everything you can to make money kind of like fall to the background. Of course, you have to have some of it. You have to get some of it from people just to pay for the thing. But you should really, like, generally, I think if you're a true intellectual, you should be constantly thinking like, how can I make the basic amount of money I need just to make this worthwhile? And then you push all money related instrumentalism out of sight as much as possible also. And that's as much a kind of priority as getting the baseline amount of money you need. Because the reason I think this is because it makes a world of difference. If people feel like if they're thinking about money too much, it can really fuck up the flow of things. So for instance, like the Rebel Wisdom event that I went to, it was like, I don't know. I just find like it gets me out of the mood of really thinking. And also it makes it like not feel live, when things are, I don't know. I don't really have a very, very coherent philosophy, and I'm obviously just trying to figure these things out on my own. But if you compare like the event that I did with the Rebel Wisdom event that I went to, again, I'm not hating on them, but there's just kind of feels orchestrated and a bit like bureaucratized and a bit overly polished and fake, and kind of the just too much energy and interest is put into relatively superficial things like having a fancy space, making it look really fancy, and having like fancy marketing materials and trying to make money and stuff like that. I don't know. That's just what I think. So yeah, kind of like, I think I could do, like, I come from a kind of DIY punk rock tradition, like where, you events are awesome and building community and shit is awesome, but you just do whatever you want and you focus on the content, and then like as quickly as possible you kind of just like send around a hat and ask people to throw whatever money they can, and that's that. You know, there's a kind of purposeful kind of militant reduction of the interest and attention paid to money. And I think that's what a real kind of intellectual culture and environment looks like. And also it's sincere. Like you're not just like hiding, you're not like secretly obsessed with money and you're like hiding your interest in it. No, you're actually you're actually quite dismissive of money. Like true intellectuals should generally just not care that much about money, because money is just not that worthwhile. It's not that valuable. It's you know, it's counterfeit value for the most part. Intellectuals should be defacing the currency, not obsessed with collecting it. And that's why, you know, the more you do that kind of stuff, the more it kind of disrupts the possibilities for true radical life to emerge. That's essentially what I think. And I guess that goes back to the earlier question that was asked of me about like, why don't I have a Patreon? I do have a Patreon. I just try not to push it that hard. All right. What else? Right. Quickly, before Katia joins us, I want to talk a little bit about, I'm going to go back to the Nina Power topic, because I have some really interesting observations on this. I think they're interesting anyway. You might not, but good thing it's my live stream and not yours. So if you search Twitter for Nina Power, you see like mad people are talking about it now, basically way more than I would have imagined. It's like quite a little scandal in the British kind of radical left and the art and philosophy scenes. To be honest, I kind of feel bad, because I feel like I kicked off this shitstorm and then I left immediately after. So I wish I could, you know, be there still to ride out the consequences of what my little YouTube channel was able to produce this week. But anyway, at first, after the live stream, there was a lot of hate, and then it was really cool. Nina wrote a long blog post. Actually, I just saw it this morning, and she basically just kind of lays all her cards out. You know, it's a very obviously uncalculated kind of sharing of all of her thoughts and feelings on the question, and then some. You know, and it was cool because it seems like after that, a lot of people kind of came out of the woodwork to start saying positive things. And then, of course, that brings out more people saying negative things. But it's very, very fascinating, because I really do think it's kind of another data point, so far at least, in my theory, that there's some kind of serious, I don't know what to call it, a regime change or a realignment taking place. And yeah, that's just my sense of it. I think what's happening is that the line between liars and fakers and like genuine radical intellectuals and people who are genuinely interested in true progressive social change, like those two camps of people are becoming demarcated with a newfound clarity. I think the line between those two is becoming increasingly bright. I think that's one thing you're seeing very clearly with Nina, because if you search like Nina Power on Twitter and you go through all the tweets, it's quite interesting to see like who supports her and who doesn't support her. I mean, first of all, think about this. Like the initial interpretation of the open letter was that this has to be a fake. This has to be a false flag operation, a psyop, because it's just too dumb, right? That's like what Max Castle, that's like the Max Castle interpretation. And so keeping that in mind, that many people thought it was like too dumb to be real. It's just amazing how many people are really doubling down on it and saying, and like really believing it. Like you find a lot of people on Twitter who actually seem to believe it as if it's like a factual testimony or something like that. And another thing is that the people who are coming down on Nina, they look really dumb. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be mean. I rarely ever call people dumb, unless I only call people dumb if they appear to be actually stupid people and they're being mean or cruel or nasty. Yeah, then I'm going to call you dumb because you are dumb and you don't exactly deserve, niceness. Look at the people who are like digging in deepest against Nina, and you'll see it's like kind of middle tier humanities academics who have some kind of like batshit stupid and vaguely kind of how should I put it, like fake or make-believe idea or concept as kind of the basis of their career. And they clearly kind of have invested all of their identity and life and livelihood into some like incredibly dumb, dubious niche inside of some currently existing institutions, such as academia or galleries or whatever the case might be. And it seems to be these people who are digging in the hardest. And so that's very interesting. I mean, that's just a hypothesis. I don't know if that applies more generally, but that kind of says something to me. I think what's happening is that there are people who, whether they know it consciously or not, whether it's conscious or unconscious, there are people nowadays who have a good paycheck coming in because they've cleverly kind of set up shop for themselves in academia or the art world with some of the dumbest ideas ever. And these people, I think, they feel the most vulnerable because they are the most vulnerable because they know that actually they're not that smart and their work doesn't really mean anything. And it's mostly just noise that they've kind of socially finessed into a certain amount of power and a little paycheck in like their little group. These people are the ones who react so rapidly because they know deep down that they're actually not that smart and that their entire life's work would be reduced to ashes if intelligence actually determined or courage actually determined who gets social capital or who gets political capital. That's what I think is going on. Because if you look at who's supporting her and who's not supporting her, it really does seem like the craziest, dumbest people are the ones who are still insisting on her being like a fascist or something like that. That's my take anyway. Like I was going through the profiles of some of these people, and a surprising number of the Nina Power haters are like witches, like explicitly. They identify as like a witch, or they have like elven ears. I saw her Twitter profile. She has like elf ears. It's like, I don't know if she's like otherkin or something. And I honestly don't know. I'm not even hating. I'm just saying, what does it mean? What does it mean, right? And what was the other one? Oh, there was this woman. I think her name is Sophie Lewis. She describes herself in her Twitter bio as a family abolitionist. I mean, I've heard of like prison abolition. I'm pretty sympathetic to prison abolition. But then what happens is abolition becomes this meme or concept that gets kind of sexy. It gets cultural capital in academia. And then, you know, people who are like just trying to develop a career for themselves, they're just like, I should abolish something. Like, what's the thing that I should propose to abolish that I can make my career successful on? Oh, I got it. How about something really basic that's been around forever, that's absolutely essential to the survival and flourishing of human beings? Something that everyone on some level participates in and has in common. Something that everyone needs. Something that is a source of great joy and love. That's what it'll be. I'll abolish that. Let's abolish the family. I'm a family abolitionist. So it's like, it's really quite funny, I think. Because what I think is basically happening is that these lines are becoming brighter. And, you know, a few years ago, the left was it was a mix of reasonable, smart, honest, intelligent people and kind of, you know, let's just say it, dumb people who are kind of like very fearful and depressive. And, you know, a few years ago, it was a kind of large mix, and it's kind of hard to know who's who. But the dynamics of technology now are such that everything that is the case is going to become public. Everything that is true is going to become true. Everything that's currently hidden is increasingly, it's going to get extracted. It's going to get brought out. There's no hiding things anymore. That's actually like a deep kind of market phenomenon. You know, think of the phenomena of segmentation, like market segmentation or personalization. You know, for decades now, capitalism has been all about kind of drilling down deeper and deeper into the true qualities and preferences and desires of a bewildering variety of markets and submarkets. And you see it with subcultures, right? Like people are finding each other in increasingly segmented and refined ways. And so, and then you also obviously see it with all kinds of public scandals like Me Too, right? And in all different areas, the reality about who people are, it's coming out. The reality of who you are is going to be seen to people. There's no escaping it, for better and for worse. For better in the case of, outing, rapists or abusers, but also for worse in the sense of, losing privacy or whatever the case might be. So there's this kind of unstoppable march of the truth of reality becoming undeniable, becoming clarified. And this has very kind of brutal implications because on some level it's the increasing efficiency of capitalism, and it will involve the increasing efficiency of things like state surveillance. But on another level, it's also kind of, I don't know, it's also kind of exciting. And I also think it's kind of liberating, because the truth in some sense does set us free. And so there's this kind of weird race between, the forces of domination and surveillance and control, and the forces of honesty and truth seeking and insight and reality. And so I find that very fascinating. But anyway, it's a bit of a tangent I took there, but where I'm going with all of this is to say that the nature of who people are, the types of people, the variety of types that exist out there are increasingly becoming clear for what they are. I think that's basically what's happening. And so the really stupid, fearful, depressed, just kind of miserable people who used to kind of be able to hide behind kind of the truly smart, creative, honest, creative and productive people on the left, I think that's really starting to break. It's really starting to break apart. And I think people like, Nina Power are going to continue to polarize that difference. And I think this is one of the most promising political pathways right now, is to polarize that difference. Obviously, in my own way, that's what I'm trying to do. You can be the judge of how successful I am at that, or maybe time, history will be the judge of how successful I am at that. But basically, I think smart, intelligent people on the left, smart, honest, intelligent people on the left need to just keep doing their own thing, keep being fearless, keep, refusing to let anyone bring you down, stay joyous, stay productive. And when really dumb and dishonest and also, I should add, quite harmful, quite aggressive and mean, quite ill-natured people out to really these people are out for blood. This is all Mark Fisher's Vampire Castle. These people are out for blood, and so I'm not being mean here. I'm trying to be proportionate. Polarize that difference, people. And I think what's happened over the past few decades, over the past few years, I'm sorry. A lot of the smart, honest people on the left have been cowards. I'm going to say it straight up. I know people who are smart, who know that all the social justice warrior stuff on the left is nonsense and is harmful. I know a lot of these people personally who they just didn't want to get in trouble. They didn't want the mobs to come for them. And they, sat on their hands with their mouths shut when the mobs went for Mark Fisher, when the mobs went for Nina Power the first time around. And some of them are still sitting with, on the sidelines with their mouths shut right now. But the reason I'm so kind of fascinated by the Nina Power case that we're living through right now is it seems to me like there's a new and kind of larger little uptick in the number of people who are being honest and who know Nina and admire her and can look at this open letter and finally judge for their own eyes and speak for themselves and say, this is bullshit. And anyone who's hating on Nina Power is a bullshitter. There's a lot of people saying that right now, and it's really moving. It's really exciting in a way that there wasn't even a couple years ago, even a year ago, even maybe. So I mean, this is all hypothetical. This is all a hypothesis. I don't know. I'm speculating. We need data on this, and only time will tell. But my impression, just my intuition, is that it really feels like the Nina Power episode right now it feels like a kind of watershed, to be honest. You know, and for my own little part in that, like the people, like, you know, every time I do a live stream or do a podcast or whatever, I have more listeners, more viewers or whatever. My blog, every time I write a blog post, more people read it. So it's not an accident that Nina and I just kind of found each other and became friends, and this kind of scandal kicked off as a kind of weird joint thing between her and I and DC Miller. DC Miller has been blacklisted from almost everywhere for quite a long time now. The guy's actually like quite an impressive writer, to be honest. I didn't know this until I met him, but if you look at his Tumblr, if you search, I forget what it is, but he has a Tumblr of an archive of all of his writings. The dude has written in places like New Left Review. I was so surprised to see that and kind of impressed. You know, he's really written a lot over his time, and he's published in a variety of you know, quite respectable places, and many of them left-wing places. So the guy is, you know, I don't know him very well, but the guy's clearly, whether you like him or not, he's clearly, you know, a genuine intellectual, and has been thinking and writing for quite some time. And yeah, he's been blacklisted, like can't publish anything anywhere, can barely give a talk somewhere when if he's invited. And so yeah, like it's not a coincidence that I find myself in Nina Power's office with, you know, DC Miller talking to her on a live stream, and then that live stream kicks off and both gets her into a lot of trouble with some idiots, but then is also kind of this new weird little moment where a lot of people are now coming out of the woodwork to support her. So yeah, what I think is actually happening is you're seeing more and more people like me who basically are going all in on just making a whole lifestyle out of telling the truth and saying whatever they want. And it's actually working. Like it's winning. Like I'm winning as far as I'm concerned. And all the people who have like staked their entire career on some like bullshit humanities concept, like they're not that smart, and they are mostly just social climbers, reaching for like the dumbest idea they can get their hands on that sounds politically cool, and carving an entire career out of that. Those people, as far as I'm concerned, those people are losing big time in all of the dimensions. And I'm not reducing, like, you know, a search for the truth has nothing to do with like who has more likes or watches or who sells more books or anything like that. No, not at all. But what I'm saying is that a lot of people think in those terms. And let's be honest, most people will choose whatever idea or camp or figure seems to be winning, right? And so in terms of political and cultural influence, this stuff does matter. Obviously, it shouldn't matter to anyone who's like a genuine philosopher or scientist or whatever, or thinker. But what I do think is happening now is that the political and instrumental fortunes are shifting a bit. I'm doing quite well, even though I'm, you know, all this was ever about for me was just having more space and time and creativity and absolute freedom. But ironically, by doing that, I'm finding that actually I'm doing financially better, and you know, my financial future and prospects are actually like more promising now, it feels like, than they would have been begging for grant money in like a dying academic system that's increasingly stingy and increasingly forces you to like be an idiot and be a bureaucrat. So yeah, that's basically what I think I'm seeing with the Nina Power case, and why I'm really interested in it. It seems to me like the tide is really turning, and you know, brava to Nina for, you know, keeping her head on straight and just being joyous and confident. And you know, someone asked, I think in the beginning of this chat, like, how's Nina doing? Or, you know, someone said they feel bad for Nina. Don't feel bad for Nina. She's awesome. She doesn't give a fuck. She knows what's up. She's just a thinker. She thinks. She says what she thinks. Anyone who does that, you know, you don't have anything to worry about. Your conscience is clean. And it's hard to, you know, not get depressed by like the mob hating on you. But this has been happening for years. Like anyone who's been paying attention can kind of see it's bullshit. Mark Fisher said this in 2013. We know it already. It's bullshit. Everyone knows it. The point is to just fucking accept what you see as reality and say what you really believe and trust and have faith that in fact the truth matters and that the truth is real and reality is real. And if you just say what you think, you're going to win. And all the people who are making up bullshit, they have to lose. And I think that's becoming more and more clear to people. And I think you're really seeing that with the Nina Power case. All right. We should be joined any minute by Katia. I think that's how she said it's pronounced, but we will learn. Trying to see what I missed in the chat. So you're talking about ContraPoints. Interesting. I can't say I watch much, but interesting. There we go.
Hello.
It's perfectly on time.
That's what happens when you're watching.
Hang on, I can't hear you.
Oh no.
No, I think you're fine. I think I might have had my sound. It's perfectly on time. Oh yeah, so you gotta. Hang on, can't hear you. So I'm hearing myself. You gotta either put your headphones on or turn the volume down.
Okay.
Oh yeah, so you gotta. I'm hearing myself. You gotta either put your headphones on.
Hello. I'm back. Better headphones, hopefully. Does it work?
All right, I hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, awesome.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Better headphones, hopefully. I'm good. Is there a little bit of a lag?
All right, I hear you now. Can you hear me? Uh-oh.
Yes.
All right, awesome. There's feedback again.
Oh no. Good. Is there a little bit of a lag?
No, there shouldn't be. But there's feedback again. Okay, hang on. We got a problem. Hang on. It could be me.
I think it might be.
Tia, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. What you might have to do, and what I'm going to do also is, if you can just click the microphone on when you're ready to talk, and then click the microphone off when you're not talking. Because basically, I don't know if it was on your end or if it was on my end, but one of us, the sound was feedbacking. So that will probably solve it. You can turn your video back on.
Okay. I think it might be lagging though.
Okay, how about now?
Assuming that it's on the right, if it's not lagging, it should be okay, I think. Can you hear me?
I could hear you then. How about now?
Okay, cool. I think we're good.
Oh, wait, you know what it could be? Do you still have the watch page open?
No, but I'm doing it through Hangouts.
Okay, I think we might be good now.
Oh, wait, you know what it could be? Cool.
Do you still have the watch page open? No, there's feedback. I don't know what's going on.
But I'm doing it through...
This is crazy.
Have the watch page open?
What's that?
Okay, I think do you have the watch page open?
No, there's feedback. Let me check. Oh, maybe. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Was it me? Okay. Are we good now?
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you. I didn't realize I had. Yeah. Sorry about that. Sorry.
It's okay. I once interviewed the Google Memo guy, right? I had this podcast very briefly, and he had to give me tech support for the first hour of my interview, which I thought was so ironic.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know you. James Damore then, yeah?
Yeah.
That's fascinating. So were you live, though?
No, I never released it.
Oh, really? Did you not get to actually talk in the end?
No, so we ended up I got like 6 or something episodes of this podcast called America Hates You. And I was going to like interview someone that America hated in that moment. And I got some like interesting folks, but then I was like, wow, if I release this, I might like never have any kind of career. The mob will come. Because, you know, you're sympathetic towards people when you're talking to them.
Yeah. Wait, so you recorded it and then you decided not to release it because you were afraid of backlash?
Yeah, I was like terrified.
Oh, dude, that's a great idea. That's a great idea for a podcast.
I feel like it's sort of what Girls Chat is doing right now. I don't know if you know about them.
I know of them. Yeah, I'm actually in talks with them. We're probably going to collaborate at some point.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I feel like they're sort of doing it better than I did it anyway. So
I didn't. Do they make a point of kind of reaching out to people who are timely and being like in the moment, being ostracized?
Well, they try. They've had John McAfee and Roosh V on, and I mean, they're not saying anything controversial. They're just reasoned questions.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. I've done their podcast before. What am I saying? Yeah.
Right. So you know firsthand.
I thought you were talking about Red Scare for a second.
Oh.
Right.
No.
So you have a secret episode of a podcast recorded with James Damore that no one will ever get to hear.
Yeah, I've leaked little bits of it here and there, but yeah, it's just for me for now.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a great idea. I think if you ever want to go back to it, it would be a good idea. But maybe you just don't like backlash.
I don't know if I'd handle it as gracefully as some folks do.
I kind of like it. The first time I got in serious kind of social punishment, it was very traumatic and very, very hard and painful. But then once you go through it one time, you're totally immune to it. And then after that, it's kind of just fun and you find it kind of motivating. And yeah.
I mean, does it affect your like real life at all?
It did the first time.
Well, right.
And then, like I said, no. After that, it affects my real life only by making it better. There's nothing like a good enemy. There's nothing like having people against you to get you out of bed in the morning and pumped to get after it. That's one way to put it. Well, anyway,
as a white woman, it might be a little bit more difficult for me. I might have less to stand on.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no, I suspect. Of course, I'm sure the experience is different. Why don't we push towards your topic of focus at the moment, which is this is going to sound bad, but I was going to say sex work, not in that way necessarily. Although I don't know anything about you. Sex work in Thailand, which you learned about in a very interesting way, which is going to, I think, play quite well to the crowd here, given that YouTube actually played an interesting role in your current interest in the sex tourism industry in Thailand. Do I understand that correctly?
Yeah, I when I first moved to Austin, where I'm located now, I was like super just like depressed and bored, and I was like, I'm going to learn Khmer, which is the language of Cambodia. And I started watching all these videos about Cambodia, and then there was this one vlogger in Cambodia I really liked. And then the algorithm was like, oh, if you like Cambodia, you probably like Thailand. So I started getting all these videos about Thailand. And then, it was cooking and language and whatever. And then it was like these weird, like Yelp style almost reviews, or like these guys would go to brothels or go to, like these girly bars and take home like drunk girls who were sex workers and then like start reviewing them. And I was like, this is like, first of all, they're working, so you probably shouldn't be like taking them off site. But there's like thousands of them. It's bizarre.
Wow. So the movie that you're making right now, it's not about that, but that's how you got into it? Yeah.
I wanted to do sort of a horror movie, and it was originally a very different film, but I liked this idea of like a Western guy going to a Thai brothel and being like, oh, like, you're articulate, you have nice teeth, like, why are you a sex worker? And then sort of just like not listening to her at all, and trying to like take her out of that situation.
Interesting. Have you been to Thailand?
No, I haven't.
Interesting. So cool. So tell me about where you're at with the fundraiser. Do you have like enough to at least get going?
Well, so I've been working many, many jobs. Like I work 2 40-hour jobs, and then I work in a bookstore, and no one comes into the bookstore. So I get paid to like sit there while I'm doing work for my other jobs.
Nice.
So I'd like to reimburse myself with the fundraiser, but it'll happen either way.
Cool. Yeah, of course. What was I going to say? How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 27.
27. And do you say your name Katia?
Katya.
Say it again.
Katya.
Katya.
Yeah.
Easy. I wasn't sure. Yeah. So interesting. So you've done a lot of filmmaking before in the past, right?
Well, I went to film school. I don't know if anything that came out of that experience was legitimate.
Really?
So this was just lots of like edgelord shit that should never see the light of day.
Oh, you mean that you made?
Yeah, it was a different time. It was like I went to college during like the worst time. It was like everyone wanted to be sort of provocative and give away too much information, and now it's sort of swung in the other direction. So I've done a big scrub of everything prior.
Oh, really? So are you like a major edgelord? Oh, well, you hang out with Razib Khan, so yeah, probably, right?
I'm a little bit of an edgelord.
Okay, like compared to Razib, like more or less?
Well, I was a little bit shocked by some of the things he said when we got drinks, so maybe less.
Yeah, but he's like super smart brown skinned dude, so he can say whatever he wants.
You know, I don't know if he can get away with it.
No, well, he got a lot. He's a good guy. I like him. He's smart and fearless, just how I like him.
Yeah, I'm a fan too.
Yeah. So actually, I'm kind of curious, if you don't mind, kind of going off the rails a little bit. I'm curious about the Austin social set because I didn't actually know that you know Razib. I only picked that up yesterday. So how did you meet him?
I think it was through this guy Victor Rivera. I don't know if you know of him at all. He has like a live stream that he does also.
Yeah, he's been in my orbit for a bit. I know Victor. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. Somehow I got in that weird Twitter social circle. I don't know why, but
is he in Austin too?
No, he's in California. He's in LA.
Okay, interesting. So what do you guys? What do the Austin edgelords do when they hang out?
Well, we've only hung out the once, and we just got drinks. It was like a Tuesday night too, so it wasn't too interesting.
Okay, so there's a place in Austin where if you're out on the prowl on a Tuesday night, you might just catch some Twitter personalities talking about like human biodiversity or some shit.
Yeah, something like that.
Cool. Well, if I come through Austin, I'm definitely coming to that group if I'm invited.
Of course.
Cool. So right. So I think we should be very frank with the people that you're raising money and you want some money. Is that right?
Yes, I definitely want a couple of bucks.
Well, there's a link in the description, which I put for you. So anyone listening to this, Katya, you're more than welcome to shill as hard as you want. There's a description to your campaign in the description. And so maybe you could tell us why should people care? How about that? About your film. Why should people care?
That's a hard question. I think that, there's been a lot of pieces about sex work, and I think that, they're good and they're talking about a specific topic, but this is about people who buy sex. It's less about the sex worker and it's more about the sex tourist. And I don't demonize sex tourism, and I think it's sort of a new, that's the worst pitch I've ever heard, but it's sort of a new way to think about it.
Well, it's super fascinating for sure. Is the movie going to have sex in it?
No.
Okay, because that'd be one way to get donors. You get some steamy scenes in there. That's a selling point.
There is no, there's no coupled sex. Let's say that.
Oh, ooh, wow, okay. That's saucy. Yeah. I think you probably just picked up a few donors just from that.
Yeah, please donate to my high budget porn, low budget film.
There you go. Yeah, watch. Now you're going to see the donations pour in, and you're going to be very upset about humanity. or thankful for people's generosity. Right. But no, you've done pretty well on Indiegogo so far. I mean, obviously, it's so expensive to make like a movie, but you've raised a significant little chunk of change. That's good.
Yeah, I'm shocked that I got like 80 people or something to donate.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah,
it's like so embarrassing to ask for money.
It's hard. It's hard for sure. I think there's a pretty good chance I'm going to do a Kickstarter soon. Try to book. Yeah, because of the way it played out, it just seemed like a good fit for the book that I wanted to write. It seemed like Kickstarter would just be a good fit, and I've always wanted to try it. And yeah, so I've been kind of looking a lot at how people are doing different things. In fact, that was kind of why, one of the reasons why I took an interest in your project, just because I saw it floating around and I'm very interested in. Yeah, I think it's really exciting. It's a really exciting time right now, I think, isn't it, to be like a creative person?
Well, I mean, yes and no. It's exciting that I feel like I can get more support, but then everything I'm like, you know, is the support going to turn into a blacklist for whatever reason?
Right. What you mean, like you're afraid of getting support from the wrong kinds of people?
Yeah, or if not that, you know, like you catch people's eye and then it's like you're cool for a minute and then it's like, well, never mind.
Yeah, that sucks, definitely. But I mean, I don't know what your experience has been, but my experience has kind of been that if you go on the internet, if you're like on the internet all the time and you stay on it and you're constantly doing stuff, like a community emerges that's like actually surprisingly like robust. Like when I meet people who I first met through the internet, when I meet them online, it actually has like a high probability of being like a pretty meaningful connection, you know? So I think, yeah, I mean, you're right. There is this kind of problem of being online, which is huge fluctuations in interest and attention and a very kind of superficial kind of dynamics. But in a weird way, like I think there is a way to actually do it that really fosters like community somehow in a really real way. I think that's just kind of starting to be discovered, though. I don't know if you've experienced this.
No, I definitely agree with that. Like I met my husband on Reddit, so like I'm definitely pro.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, meeting folks online and that, you know, becoming a sustainable community.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm quite a fan of Reddit, to be honest. It has a lot of haters, but I'm quite partial to Reddit. So I have to ask, what subreddit did you meet your husband on?
Insomnia, so not too exciting.
That's hilarious, though. That's really cool. That's sweet. That's very sweet.
Yeah.
So you guys stay up all night on Reddit, probably.
Yeah. You know, just in front of the TV.
That's funny. What are your other favorite subreddits, if you don't mind me asking?
I go on Futurology pretty much every day because I spend a lot of time on Collapse. So then I need to like cleanse the palate.
Nice. I'm a subscriber to Collapse, I think. What was I going to say? My wife also actually really likes Reddit. So that's something she and I have in common also. And our new favorite that we both subscribed to recently is, what's it called? Kids Are So Fucking Stupid. Do you know it? Do you know that one?
But it's a believable sentiment.
It's pretty, I think that's what it is. I forget how it's phrased. I think it's Kids Are So Fucking Stupid or Kids Are Stupid or something. But yeah, it's basically like parents and stuff putting up pictures and stories about just like the idiotic things that kids think and do. It's pretty fun. Yeah. I like wholesome internet fun.
Yeah. Me too most of the time.
Sorry, this is going totally off the rails. We should be talking about sex work in Thailand.
I mean, I don't know what else there is to say, right? Check out my Indiegogo, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Link in description. Subscribe now. Yeah. All the YouTubers are always like begging people to subscribe and like and reply. I try not to do that, but for other people, I don't mind shilling. For friendly people on the internet, I don't mind shilling. It's probably easier to shill for other people than for yourself, I think, in some sense.
Yeah, well, you know, it seems humble in a way, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're doing it for someone else. Tell me, I'm curious, like, tell me a bit more about the plot. Like without spoiling it, of course, like what happens in the movie?
It's so short, so I will spoil it. Sorry, guys, for the spoilers. So it's about this guy who goes to a brothel with his friend, and he's really nervous and guilty. You know, he's feeling guilty about it. He's not sure if it's all above board or whatever. And his friends, you know, like, you're here, you might as well just do it. So he meets with the woman he's going to sleep with, and he realizes that she's very articulate. He starts noticing that she has, you know, strong hair, and, you know, she's healthy looking. And basically that she's just a person working a job. And then he continues to spiral, and he's like, you know, I don't understand why you're in this line of work if you're ostensibly like not a loser. And he's like, you know, eventually someone's probably going to come and like either end your life or, you know, do something terrible to you. And your existence seems really terrible. And it's so tragic because you're such, you know, you seem like such an interesting person. So he's like, how about I mercy kill you? And then we can both sort of walk away with it from this. Like, you know, I did something good. You don't have to deal with this anymore. And then she knocks him out with an ashtray.
Whoa.
And that's it.
Oh, okay. So when you say it's a horror film, like that makes me think there's going to be like killing and ghosts and like this guy with the scream mask on and like horrifying scenes and being shocked and stuff. But it sounds more like it's kind of like a dark, it's probably dark, suspenseful, and then a kind of grotesque ending, but
Yeah.
not like blood and guts for like 20 minutes.
Right. Yeah, it is. I'm trying to build the suspense, like, you know, what's this dude's deal? Why is he being such a creep?
Right.
And then hopefully there is, you know, the ending is scary. Well, I guess we'll see on March 31st.
Was it hard to get actors and actresses like signed on when you didn't have money yet?
They didn't know that.
Oh, really nice.
Yeah, no one knew that. I picked a budget and then I just started hiring people. And I was like, I hope to God that this works out. And, you know, thank God it did.
Awesome. How do you know them personally, or how do you like get actors and actresses?
I use Backstage, and then you like it's sort of like you meet one person and then you meet people through that person.
Is Backstage like an app for getting actors?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That's interesting. I used to kind of make movies. They weren't really movies, but I mean, like, well, yeah, they were movies. They were just bad, and like I would have my friends do it and stuff like that. But that's neither here nor there. I don't think I have anything to offer on that regard. Interesting. Well, I'm trying to think what my audience, the YouTube audience, you know, YouTube's a very sketchy place. People watching right now, some of them are cool, smart, good people. Some of them, I like to think it's a small minority of them, are, you know, sometimes people with, let's just say, not the most sophisticated ideas or values. So I'm trying to think like what your film might kind of most have to offer that people like. What tactics have you been trying so far to get people to give money?
So what's been most successful is just like offering random prizes.
Yeah.
Or like guilting people, which I can't do with a bunch of strangers, unfortunately.
Why not?
But like, because, you know, they don't know me. I don't know them. I don't know what manipulation strings to pull. Oh no, you froze.
How to like get? Oh, are you still there? Oh, we lost you. Talk about technical difficulties on my end and elsewhere. Yeah. Oh, I felt so bad that I had the feedback going, but I'm in a new place every time. So, hey, do you hear me? See me now?
Yep, back.
Okay, cool. I was just saying while you were taking a break, I was talking about how I feel so bad about the technical difficulties that you encountered when you first came on. Not very hospitable.
Yeah, and then the call dropped just now.
Yeah, but I don't think that was me though.
I think that was my internet.
Well, this makes me happy because it means like we're both kind of guilty of some technical snafus.
Yeah, it's so hard because I feel like it's kind of unpredictable.
Yeah, but also it's the fun of it. Like, who cares? All my watchers, everyone who follows my shit knows this is like a very DIY punk rock affair. I don't pretend to have high production qualities. I don't pretend for it to be fancy or anything like this. It just is what it is. So I try to under promise and over deliver if I'm lucky. That way, if there's snags here and there, well, I'm not promising you, David Letterman.
It is close, right? Good conversation.
Yeah, right. I like to think I'm much cooler than David Letterman, but unfortunately, my production quality is a little beneath his. There was something I was going to say when you cut off, which is that the idea of giving prizes and stuff like that, giving like random rewards to drive fundraising. That's a fun idea because I could think of lots of ways because I know my audience fairly well. I could think of the things that would probably get you a lot of money, but we wouldn't want to do them. Like one, for instance, if I asked my audience, like, what could we say or do that would get you to donate to Katya's Indiegogo campaign. One thing we'd see right away is they would tell me to say the N-word. Like if I say the N-word, they'll give you $1 million. I'd get a lot of people. They're always trying to get me to say the N-word. I don't say the N-word, so that's off the table. Unfortunately, I would love for you to get lots of money, but I won't stoop that low. I won't stoop that low. I suspect then there would be also inappropriate sexual requests, probably of you and me, separately. That is, to be clear, we're both married people, and yeah. So while I'm partially inclined to see how we could whip my audience into a frenzy to give you money, I'm also YouTube is sometimes sometimes it's best to let sleeping dogs lie. However, I don't know. You might be able to think of some way that you could I don't know, something that you would offer my audience that you would actually be happy to do. I don't know.
Well,
what do you currently? What do you currently? Yeah.
The trick is you don't let them choose the prize.
Oh
so
yeah.
when you're trying to make money, don't let them drive.
Yeah, you can't let them drive the car. Okay, so you drive the car and you have full control over my audience if you want to, like, I don't know, offer some kind of like Justin Murphy show special. I don't know.
Okay, so for $25, within reason, no racial slurs, nothing super hateful. You get to choose. You can put your name or any name of your choosing to be an executive producer.
Wow, for how much?
For $25. And one exception, two exceptions besides the racial slurs, is you can't say Harvey Weinstein and you can't say Michael Jackson. But
all right, so you know what's going to happen? I'll bet you anything you're going to get at least one $25 donor tonight, and the name that they're going to have you put as executive producer is going to be like 420 Weed Boner.
That's fine.
Yeah, really?
Right? Like that's better than literally Hitler, executive producer. Literally Hitler.
Wow, this is like a very courageous offer. I like this, Katya. That's very fun of you. All right, well, folks, you who are listening, this is a fun opportunity. How many of you ever had an opportunity to be the executive producer of a film? Probably not many of you. No offense to you folks. I know a lot of you are, very successful people, but even successful people, I mean, hell, I'm tempted to give you $25 just to say I'm an executive producer. Aren't you worried about like it being a long ass list of well, I guess, what do you care, right? Why? Yeah, it's just a title, right?
Yeah, I mean, it goes at the end. So if and when I get accepted to film festivals, you'll see your name or the fake name you decided to put in my film up there.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And I saw you have some pretty impressive credentials, Katya. You've received some rewards and at film festivals and stuff. Is that right? You should tell us about that a little bit. Don't be shy. Okay,
so the script did pretty well at a bunch of like these small local screenwriting contests. The most interesting one is it was a second rounder, which is the same as quarterfinalists at the Austin Film Festival, which is one of the better screenwriting, of all these like screenwriting scams. This is one of the more impressive ones.
Okay, fair enough. I appreciate your honesty. Oh, actually, this is another good thing I just remembered. You should tell us more about your edgiest ideas. That will definitely make people like you and give you money.
Okay. For really I don't know if this bodes well since I'm doing a film about Southeast Asia, but for some reason I got it in my head that it would be like really funny to like make a film of like a Pol Pot impersonator tap dancing and just like doing really like poorly at tap dancing.
Like a comedy?
Yeah. And like I had it all like set up to do, and then it just like got way too weird. So I was like, this is I made a bunch of like weird art films where people are naked for various reasons. I think some of the ones that really push the envelope maybe aren't safe for stream. Unfortunately.
Oh, okay. So that's what I want to know about. I want to know about your true beliefs. But I respect that not everyone. Yeah. We live in a very difficult political climate, as I'm sure you're aware, and not everyone is able to say everything that they think. Although I think they should. But no, I mean, frankly, I probably do. I don't know. I try to. I aspire to. It's an aspiration, but realistically, you know, everyone has some things that they're just not prepared to say in public. But maybe you could think of something that's not that bad, that's not going to get you like in too much trouble, that you feel like sharing that maybe is a little edgy. Because I know you're hanging out with Razib Khan. I know you're thinking some edgy shit. I know you got those edgy beliefs. So you give us something.
Man, it's hard when you're put on the spot when you're just alone on Twitter. It's like suddenly it's all there.
Yeah, no, I got you. Well, no, I'm not putting you on the spot. You can think about it if you want, or if it comes to you, let me know. But that would probably make.
All right, I have one that's a little bit. It's a touch controversial. When I was in college, I wrote a short film about this woman who was in purgatory, and you're trying to find out the whole time why she's in purgatory. She killed herself after a school shooting because she was so offended that the mass shooter did not kill her.
Okay. Wait. What?
So she committed. So she lives through a spree shooting at her school.
Wait, is this a story you wrote or a movie or what?
Yeah, this is the first short film I did in college.
Oh, okay, right. Okay, go on.
So she's in purgatory. She lives. You find out that she survived a spree shooting at her school. But then she ultimately had committed suicide because she was so offended that she wasn't killed. Like she thought there was something wrong with her, that the person didn't kill her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dark.
So
that's dark.
Yeah.
That's dark. Interesting. So you made these movies and they're all in hiding because you don't like them?
Yeah, they're on like a locked Vimeo account, never to see the light of day.
Interesting. So that's an interesting idea. Maybe you could sell like private access to those edgy videos that no one else can see.
Sure. If you donate $50, you could see this weird film with a guy fucking a raw chicken in it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's literally what he's doing. Like even in real life, it doesn't just look like that.
It's in real life. He fucks like a raw chicken and then he like starts coming on dolls. It's just, I mean, it's stupid, right?
Oh gosh, really? Yeah, but
yeah.
Yeah, but Katya, there are probably some perverts watching this who like might be into that for all the wrong reasons.
So if that's your thing, right?
Yeah.
Send me some money and I'll send you a link.
It would be so funny if somehow this was like the magic bullet that like made you complete your Indiegogo campaign.
I wish.
So this has gotten totally off the rails. I hope it's not too uncomfortable for you. I don't know where this is going.
It's not too bad.
Good. Well, all right. So I feel like I don't want to interview you any longer than you want to be. I mean, I'm not going to rush you off, but if you feel like you've done your job and you've shilled for your movie, and I've been interested to hear about it. It's been fun talking with you. It's been fun getting to know you. You're free to go if you want. You're also free to stay if you have energy and you want to talk about anything else.
I guess if anyone has any questions or anything, I can't see the chat, but.
Oh, you don't? Yeah, great move. Yes. Does anyone have any questions for Katya? Any thoughts, comments, questions? They're like debating about late Roman era Gnostic cults. Oh,
I love the occult. Which ones?
Oh no, I said cults. Although I guess kind of a cult, I guess, in that way. I don't know what they're talking about. I never know what they're talking about. Communal prostitution in the Middle Ages.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Spice Demiurge says, could you just repeat everything you said? But I don't know. Repeat what? Have you ever done a live stream, Katya?
No, I haven't. This is my first one.
What do you think of it?
It's a little nerve-wracking.
Oh, is it nerve-wracking? Were you nervous?
A little at first, because you don't know if you'll say something dumb, but
oh, yeah,
this is fine.
No, you've been great. It's easy. No, just hanging out,
Yeah.
In some sense, since I fucked up the technical stuff when you first got here, I absorbed all the shame and embarrassment for you. All right, Katya, what do you think about the term sex work versus the term prostitution? Booyah.
I think sex work is more inclusive because, like, sex work, you could be a stripper, you could be a cam girl. It sort of makes more sense.
What? Okay, more inclusive. I see. Why did you, someone's asking, why did you choose sexuality as a topic?
I just really wanted to write a character who is, visiting one of these Thai brothels. There, no reason in particular. To be honest, the way it started is a less interesting film, but at the same time, I was like reading a lot about these like Silicon Valley guys who are buying blood of, the youth to, whatever it does.
Yeah.
And I was like, what if like you're like one of these guys, but you like can't afford to buy the blood? So like the original draft of this, the guy goes in and he's like trying to like get her blood because he thinks it'd just be easier to do it that way. And I was like, this doesn't really track logically, but it seemed more interesting and easier to put a narrative on just the sex work element.
I see. Okay. Good answer. Have you read the book Platform by Welbeck?
No, I have read other Welbeck books, but not that one.
Do you like or dislike Welbeck?
Don't tell anyone, but I am a fan.
Okay. Based and red pilled. Have you read The Secular Age by Charles Taylor?
No.
Do you have an opinion regarding how prostitution relates to capitalism? Is it a sort of intrinsically capitalist venture, as some people say?
I don't know if it's intrinsically capitalist, but I think that it's like more prevalent because of capital. Like I think that there's things that are sex work that we don't call sex work.
Like what?
I think there's certain kinds of labor that end up you're doing sort of like a variation of sex work. I also feel like there's certain relationships that become sex work adjacent, and that wouldn't necessarily exist if there was, more access to things and more like economic equality.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good answer. Oh, we got Nina Power in the house.
Hello.
I don't know if you've been following my affairs of the past week or so. Have you caught this at all, that there was a bit of a scandal in the UK radical left?
Yeah, and I was reading about Antichrist. I came up with some weird theory about the movie, and I Googled it to see if anyone else had thought of the same thing. And who came up? Nina Power.
Oh, really? Interesting. What movie Antichrist? I'm not familiar with it.
Oh, it's a Lars von Trier movie.
Okay. Yeah, I have heard of it.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it. Oh, that's interesting. So you came across Nina Power. Yeah. So there's been this like big dust up on the internet, but Nina Power says, "I don't blame you for the madness, Justin. It's been a wild week though. I think the whole thing has been quite revealing. Glad you got back okay. Thanks, Nina. Good to hear from you. I've never seen you in the chat before, so good to have you. Well, I'm glad you don't blame me for the madness. I feel kind of responsible, but it's all to your greater glory, Nina. Don't worry. All right, Katya, how do you think sex tourism will expand in the future?
That's sort of a weird question, because I don't how could it expand? It's already expanded. It's in every city.
More people could get into it. Like it could be normal for everyone to do it.
I think it's already normal. I think
some people would never do it. Like my mom would never do it. Maybe like in 10 years from now, my mom would do it.
I think it could change and become more. There's more technology for it, but I feel like we're already at the point where you could, in a way, and if you know where to look, there's apps. You could, you know what I mean? Like you could be in a new city and pull up an app and you're already
right. Sure. Do you watch a movie? You're getting a lot of questions, Katya, I have to say. Like usually when I invite people to ask questions to guests, there's some, but people seem to really want to know what you think. Do you watch movie YouTube channels?
Like real produced films on or like
I guess so. I
critics?
guess that's how I would interpret the question. I don't know. You never know what these people actually mean, but that's what I think it means.
I've definitely watched like a lot of Khmer movies on YouTube because you can't really find them. Like Cambodian movies.
Oh, okay, right.
Or like Vietnamese movies, or like anything that you can't really find. Like the Bunny Game is another one I watched on YouTube. I felt kind of bad for doing that, but
I have a question for you. Why did you? Because if you first got into Cambodia, why is the movie about Thailand?
I couldn't find a Cambodian actress.
Okay, fair enough.
And I also like could not procure enough Cambodian inspired or like Cambodian set design.
Okay, interesting. Good answer. Let's see. Jean-Michael Lewin asks, if a couple feels obligated to perform sex, does that count as sex work? Yeah, I guess maybe in some sense.
I mean, like, what does that mean though? Right? Like,
yeah.
Like who's performing the work? Are they both working, or like does them being a couple have anything to do with it?
It's a good question. We'll skip that one. I don't get it. All right, I'm gonna take the bait on this trollish question. Do you think white men are the dominant sexual beings on Earth, and all are brought before them to serve their sexual desires?
I don't understand the question, so please go ahead.
Okay, I'll take that one. The answer to that is no. That's all. Katya, what do you think of what do you think of Kundalini?
What part of
it? You probably don't have opinion on that. You don't have to.
I always like want to research it more and like do Kundalini yoga, because one time this weird, speaking of witches, which you were earlier, this like crazy witch woman who I knew was told me that she went to Kundalini yoga and they opened up all of her chakras at once. Wow. And she had an uncontrollable orgasm.
Oh my gosh, really? Dude,
yes.
I would not want to have an orgasm in the yoga room.
Yeah, it felt like a weird sort of cover for some, I don't know what the fuck she was doing.
Are chakras real? Is that shit real? I gotta ask Razib Khan if that shit's real.
What did he say?
No, I'm saying I have to ask him, or you can ask him when you see him. Do you know if is that stuff real? Do you know?
I think there's ways in which it can be like a use, recognizing them could be a useful practice. I don't know what like real means in that context, but
because it basically is a set of physiological claims, right? It's like it's an idea about how the body works. It can be
but it's spiritual.
True. So if you believe all of your chakras are opening at once, you're going to orgasm, even though it's not actually like any physical phenomenon.
Right. I mean, I've done like meditations that are geared towards like your root chakra, and right. I felt a different. But like, does that that doesn't necessarily mean that chakras are a real system?
It's a good question. By the way, I'm sorry that it's getting dark in my room and I'm starting to look a little creepy, but I have no control over it. All right, what else we got? Mark Machik asks me, Justin, has Luke Turner gone after you? I'll just answer that real quick. No, he hasn't tagged me in anything. He hasn't said anything to me. I'm kind of letting sleeping dogs lie on that one. But what else we got? All right. All right, I'll skip that one. By the way, people, you're asking Katya a lot of questions, so you better be giving her fucking money. Just saying. Link in description. Don't be stingy. You could, for $25, you can be an executive producer, okay? Some of you, I'm going to be honest, some of you have probably never accomplished much in your life. This is a unique opportunity for you to be the executive producer of a movie for just $25. If you don't take it, you're an idiot. All right, what else? Sorry, I'm just scrolling through. I've been informed that Nick B. Steves has unblocked me from Twitter. I don't know if you know who that is, Katya. He's like a famous neo-reactionary. Oh, okay, here's finally a good one. Thank you, Christ. Finally, a reasonable person saying something meaningful. Katya, Shit, I lost it. What directors have you been inspired by?
This is embarrassing, but it's the truth. Harmony Korine is probably my biggest inspiration. Yeah.
That's cool. What are their famous ones again? I'm so bad at movies.
What are his famous movies? Well, he just came out with The Beach Bum with Matthew McConaughey, Spring Breakers, Kids. He was a screenwriter on.
Kids. That's
Mr.
right.
Lonely, which is everyone. If you've watched Leaving Neverland, you should also watch Mr. Lonely as like a fucked up companion piece to that.
Right. Okay. Cool. I've seen some of those. I haven't seen that one though. So thanks for the recommendation. Here we go. I have a little bit of a challenge here. Someone says being labeled as executive producer for money alone is dishonest. What say you?
Actually, no, because executive producers are the people who give money.
Burn. Boom. Got it. Done. Good response. I think you know more about the film industry than this person. So, good answer. Let's see. Do you like Mike Lee?
I don't think I know who that is.
Yeah, me neither. Bruce keeps asking inappropriate questions. I made a mistake at asking one for him. Now I've fed the trolls and.
Well, I mean, are any of them interesting at least?
Yeah, I was kind of tempted to ask you this one, but I didn't want to upset you with like offensive questions. I'm afraid I've already upset you maybe somehow by being stupid.
No, I'm actually I'm pretty laid back, I think.
Okay, good. You never know. I don't know you at all much, so
I'm only triggered by the name Luke Turner, but otherwise.
Yes.
Like, does Shia LaBeouf approve of his behavior? I mean,
I know, right? Let's talk about that. That isn't that so interesting? So what? He's like the assistant of Shia LaBeouf, is that right?
No, they're artistic collaborators, I thought.
Oh, I thought he was like he gets Shia LaBeouf coffee or something.
No, I mean he's an artist, right?
Is he really?
Yeah. And I mean he's probably not a bad guy. I just don't necessarily understand his approach. Although I'm open to understanding it. I'm not vilifying him.
Yeah, no one wants to vilify him because people are terrified of him because he's like the most aggressive social justice warrior ever. He's basically he's the king of social justice warriors. He's like the Attila the Hun of social justice warriors. People are terrified of him. So
and this is why we really shouldn't have a monarchy.
Well, maybe. Or if we do have a monarchy, we should make sure that Luke Turner types don't get to the top of it. But yes, you're right. That's probably why we should not have a monarchy, because it probably would be Luke Turner types who get to the top of it. Anyway, let's get back to these. Oh yeah. So here's a funny question for you, since you're saying that you have thick skin and you're not worried about offensive things, and I'm not upsetting you already. Do you think that women are infected with the Jewish spirit?
I also don't know. Like, so what's the Jewish spirit?
I have no idea what this means.
So full disclosure, I'm a Jew. So I'm a woman. So I feel like I might be able to answer this if I knew what they meant. Okay,
maybe we will get a follow-up explanation of what that question means, because you're right. I have no clue what it means. Do you know any other good movies about sex tourism?
Yes. So it's not about sex tourism per se. There are sex tourists in it. It's on Netflix right now. It's called P. It's a Thai movie, and it's very, very, it goes a little off the rails. I'm going to be honest. Some of the effects are very much within their budget, but it's very, very funny. There's parts of it that are absolutely horrifying. I highly recommend it.
Cool. Great. By the way, people, I'm reminding you, you better be giving her money for these questions you're asking. The movie Kron Paradise, Love by Ulrich Seid, an Austrian director. Have you ever heard of that? What do you think of it?
No, I haven't heard of it, but if you DM it to me, I'll make sure to watch it.
Booyah. Nice. All right. Do you like Ulrich Seidel?
I don't know who that is. I feel so bad and not so well watched after these questions. I'll look him up really quickly. See if this is some kind of troll question secretly.
Yeah. Who knows? Are you gay? I think the answer is no. You said you're married, right?
No, I am a straight woman.
Are you Christian?
No.
That was my question. I was just curious because nowadays you're actually like people like women, young women your age are actually like often not married. It's like now in today's day and age, you actually seem like kind of young to be married for like urban, like circles or whatever. So I was just curious if you were Christian because I feel like in my observation, the people I know who are your age or younger who are married are often Christian, but you're not. You already said you're Jewish. What am I saying?
I have respect for Christianity. I'm interested in it, but unfortunately not part of that tribe.
That's cool. I was just curious. Okay. You know what? I think the questions are now slowing down. And I think, hang on. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Someone else is also saying Welbeck's Platform is a great novel that deals with sex tourism.
I'll check it out.
What do you think about the sex trafficking of Russian and Ukrainian women in Israel? Oh.
Can you tell me more about it? And then I'll give you my opinion of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no clue. I don't know anything about it. But I guess the idea is, well, first of all, I don't even know if it's true. Like, I have no idea how many Russian or Ukrainian women are trafficked in Israel. But I get the political connotations of the question. They're saying, why does no one care about white women who are trafficked, is what they're getting at.
Well, I'm not making a film about sex trafficking. I don't think I can speak to that. But I do think that there's, like, at least here in Austin, right, we have Formula One, and that a lot of human trafficking happens then. And we're very vigilant. There's like posters and stuff about people who are trafficked of all demographics, men, women, across the racial spectrum. So right. I don't think people don't care about Eastern European women who are trafficked.
Right. Cool. All right. Well, I feel like I've had you on the line quite some time, and I've worked you hard asking you lots of difficult questions. And I feel like at this point the trolls have now taken over the chat, and I'm now just answering questions for trolls, and I can cut them off at a certain point. So I think we'll stop asking questions. We'll stop receiving questions, and yeah, maybe just before you run off, maybe you could share some parting words, like I don't know, anything on your mind you wanted to say before you get off the horn?
Donate if you want to. If you don't, I'll only be lightly offended. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for having me on. Yeah,
totally. Good to meet you. I think honestly, $25 for executive producer spot, it's a pretty good deal. So I'm also just kind of curious, like how much I'm curious, like, because I never like beg for money or anything, but I'm curious, like, how much you get from going on the Justin Murphy live stream to share a fundraising thing. I'm just kind of.
My guess is like five pity bucks, but that's $5 more than I would have gotten anyway.
Well, hopefully it's. I'm curious to see. I have no clue. I have no baseline because I've never really brought anyone on who was like selling something. Although, like, have you ever heard of this guy, Logo Dedulus? He's like a Twitter personality and a writer or whatever. And a while back, like, I talked to him about coming on my live stream, and he said no. And he said he thought he was too good for me or whatever. And then now he's selling a book, and
now he wants to come on.
Yeah, now he messaged me to come on. So I'm kind of like, oh yeah, I guess this is something that happens if you do media. Like, eventually people will want to do your thing just to sell something. You didn't even ask, by the way, to be clear. I invited you. So that got me thinking. I'm kind of like, I wonder how many people watch I'm just curious. Like, I wonder how much money I could drive for like fundraising effort if
you'll know you made it when publicists are DMing you asking if their client can go on your show.
Right. That's right. But to figure that out, I have to first try, like, yeah. One of the reasons, honestly, that I wanted to have you on, and I'm not just being nice to you. I was just curious to learn about the project. I was curious, like, to know what you're doing, and we we're friendly online or whatever. So I was just curious to chat with you. And also, this was in the back of my mind when I started talking with Logo, because he asked about his book. I was just curious, like, oh, you're fundraising, maybe I can help. Maybe some of my people give some money if I have you on. And if So I was kind of like, okay, I like you. Your project sounds good. I believe in your project from what I know about it, and I want to learn about it. So let me try to help her raise money. But I'm also, there's a selfish motive, I guess, if I'm being honest, because I'm curious to know what that number is, you know, like when we get off here tonight or whatever, or tomorrow, and you know, like, oh, Justin, going on your show got me $5. Or if you say, Justin, going on your show got me $100 or 2,000 or something, that's going to be really interesting for me to learn, because then I don't know, it's just kind of interesting. Like, yeah, it would be, it's just a kind of power, you know, like I don't really see myself doing a lot of like shilling, or like, I wouldn't want to turn this into like some kind of promotional like circuit, you know, where people just come on here to sell shit all the time. But if that was something that, if that was a kind of like power that emerged from it, I would be, you know, I would maybe periodically want to use it, and I would be curious to
well, you should make it a symbiotic relationship, like have interesting projects, you know, because like on any talk show, it's like so and so came on to talk about their new book, and you know, one line at the end, and you know, buy the book if you liked my conversation with this interesting person.
Right. True. Yeah. Like you're kind of saying I wasn't very slick about it.
No. If you want to do it so you're not just like a promotional outlet,
right,
but you could use it as a way to bait better and better guests.
Yes, I see what. Yes, yeah. That's right. That's totally right. I see what you're saying. Yeah, and in the future, I probably like I'll learn to be smoother about it. Like, I don't know.
You did a good job.
Well, in a way, I feel like I'm being more honest, because I'm just like, you know, I literally invited you on to let you, like, because I wanted to help. I wanted to help you sell your, you know, fundraising. So in a way, if I didn't talk about that up front, it would have been like a little insidious, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, oh wait, real quick, we have a super chat from Spiced Demiurge, who says, "Not sure what to think of this. I'm all for nuance on sex work, but couldn't this film be ignoring the horrors of actual non-consensual sex trafficking?"
I thought of that, and it is addressed in the film. I am so worried about saying the wrong thing, so don't worry.
That's a really good. That actually is a really good question.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you're confident, in other words, that the way you've written the film,
that is explicitly addressed.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess if people want to see how you deal with it, they'll have to help you make the film become a reality. All right, cool. This was awesome. You said you were nervous before. You shouldn't be nervous. You were totally cool. So it's all good.
Thank you. Well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on. I think my intuitions that you're a cool person and that your project is probably pretty cool. I think my intuitions were right. I feel like, at least from what you've thrown out so far, I feel like my hunch has been affirmed, and I look forward. I hope you're able to complete it, and what sounds like you're going to do it regardless.
Yeah. Just trudge forward.
I'll definitely check it out. Let me know when it's done. Let me know when it's done. Yeah.
Will do. Thank you. Bye.
And also let me know how much money you drive, for how much money you get. That's
I'll send you a DM. Bye.
All right. So thanks again. See you later. All right. Someone asks, did you read Logo's book? No, I haven't. I would check it out though. I just haven't gotten around to it. I definitely support the self-publishing movement kind of thing that's going on right now. Like I saw Kantbot just say today that he's working on a book. I love it. I think like self-publishing is just going to become so normal, and I'm really happy to see smart, independent people just saying fuck it and not even bothering trying to get some kind of book deal. So I totally support it. I think it's really exciting, and so I'll definitely buy all these books. Definitely. Justin, could you talk about the Jewish influence on the Academy? I do not support any conspiracy theories about Jews. They're all mostly false. And like all conspiracy theories, there's always some sort of weird, twisted, tiny kernel of truth inside of them that the conspiracy theory makes like kind of stupid and often harmful. In the case of Jewish influence, yeah, folks, that's a pretty blind alley. It's not that, you know, I would not encourage anyone to go very deep on those theories. What's really going on at the end of the day, I think, is just that we know quite well that Jews have higher IQ on average than other people. So they tend to do well in institutions and sectors of influence and money and power. So they're on average some of the like basically you all know this. So if you look at like Nobel Prize winners, a ridiculous proportion of them are Ashkenazi Jews. So it just makes sense that Ashkenazi Jews are going to be overrepresented in positions of power. No conspiracy theory. It's not a big deal. People are different. What else we got? Razib says the term shilling is problematic. Oh, shit. I didn't think about that. All right. It's like so dark in here. I got to wrap this up. Folks, thank you. I hope you enjoyed that. Throw Katya some money if you are interested in her project. If you're not, that's fine too. But she seems cool. And I think I'm curious to see what she's working on. So curious to see what she produces. So, as a friend of mine on Twitter, she has my endorsement. Let's see. I need to also, people, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. You know all that shit. Like this video, all that shit. Do you realize you're not consistent with talking about how academics shouldn't be about money, and think about it and ask? E.g. the meeting thing. I think I'm consistent. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out what is the right way to handle money issues and financial pressures and the intellectual life. I don't pretend to be perfect. But I think I'm doing a better job of it than some people. I don't really spend that much time or energy begging for money. I try to make it available. I will periodically invite people to throw some money. But, look, if I'm a pretty smart and productive person, I could be spending much more time on the money aspect than I currently am. I spend, the largest possible share of my time doing just honest thinking and speaking and writing and whatever, working on my projects as I possibly can. And I put some work into asking for money and kind of setting up those systems, but I do basically the bare minimum of that I think I can do and also succeed in all of this, like financially. So we'll see. I don't pretend to be perfect. All right, folks. Thank you very much. As always, this was fun. By the way, I'm sorry also to you folks about the technical difficulties. I'm also a little discombobulated. I was, I think, a bit. It was very choppy and kind of stuttering and muttering in that live that whole past 2 hours, and I was kind of like constantly going off the rails. I'm still jet lagged, to be honest. It's my first day in America, so yeah, I'm gonna get all this sorted. I'm gonna get into a more stable routine once I get everything. I'm not even unpacked, So yeah, I was a little weird this session. Forgive me, but we'll get it all sorted. Nice seeing you all. I wish you the best. Good night and good luck. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And yeah, subscribe. Give me all your money. No, actually give it to Kaya today. Thank you. Bye-bye.